Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 2022 Hoover Buck Banquet. Just want to say good afternoon to all the Hoover Buck family. We appreciate everybody coming together. Before we get started, everybody take out your phones. Put it on silent, please. I know you guys have a bunch of snaps to get to, but it can wait a little bit. Also want to recognize that we have some pastors here today. I think they're taking their seats now. I want to thank them for providing meals this year and providing encouragement through speeches to help our boys as they advance to get on the field this year. We're also going to bring up Mr. Jones to bless our food. Before we do that, we're going to actually have the coaches and their families eat first, then the seniors and their family, juniors, their family, all the way down. Okay? Mr. Jones?
All right, let's pray. Father God, we thank you so much for the opportunity just to be here tonight and to celebrate such an amazing season. We just thank you for each family that's represented in this room, Lord. We pray for each of the football players. We pray for the parents that just went above and beyond to get their children here and to do what they need to do, Lord. And I just thank you for the pastors that came, that you sent from other churches, Lord. That they could be with us on Friday mornings and Friday afternoons and on the field, just to remind us about what's really important. And that's the fact that you sent your son to die for us, Lord. And we believe that and accept that, then we can live with you forever. So we thank you for that truth. We thank you for the coaches that just went above and beyond what their job descriptions are, Lord, because they love each person that's in this room. We just pray a special blessing for the seniors as they graduate. And as they go into their next level of academics and athletics and careers, just pray for a hedge of protection and safety for them. We just pray that you'll bless this food for our bodies and us to your service. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
I hope everybody got a chance to enjoy their food. We're going to go ahead and get started. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Brian Hubbard. I was this year's BTC president. I want to take a few minutes to recognize the BTC board this year. Please stand for me. Everybody that was on the board, I know there's more out there. So guys, while you guys were working hard on the field, all of these parent volunteers were working very hard to make sure everything was a success off the field. They spent a lot of time putting together player meals, fundraising, and doing all the things you just don't see in the back end. So I think everybody deserves an applause for all their hard work. I also want to take a minute, if there's any parents in the room that volunteered at any of the events that we did, whether it was parking, setting up meals, the golf tournament, anything, please stand. I know there's a bunch of you out there. Only one person? Okay. So, I truly want to say thank you for volunteering. It's a lot of hard work. But it's what it takes to make this program a success, so thank you. I do want to give a quick update on the locker room. The locker room was a project that we took on this year, and through a lot of meetings that I had with Mr. Montgomery, Coach Urban, and Coach Waldrop, we think we're to the point where we might get approval for it in the next few weeks. When it does get approved, we hope to have it started by the summer. And next year's senior class will be in a new locker room. So that's good news for all you guys that are coming up through the program. It's not going to be like what Jackson State has or anything like that, but it's going to be a really nice locker room. So I don't want to steal too much of Coach Waldrop's thunder, but as everybody knows, right about this time last year, he was hired as the Hoover football coach, and there was a lot of obstacles thrown his way. Many of the coaches decided to leave, take other opportunities, but I want to commend him on putting together an absolutely great coaching staff. Really, all the hard work that you guys have done made this year a great success. So I just want to, commend you for doing such a great job. I want to bring up Coach Waldrop.
Thank you all for being here tonight. What a fun night. This is a great event. Just quickly like to say thank you to the Finley Center for letting us come in here and do this tonight. Done quite a few of these banquets. I don't know if this set up I don't know if I've ever been in one better than this, so it's awesome here. I'd like to say thank you to the moms, the dads that did all the work to set this up. I think they had about an hour window from the previous banquet to come in and get our stuff set up here tonight. It looks amazing in here, so thank you all for doing that tonight. Thank you for serving the food back there in the back and making it a success. That was about a 35-minute run through to get everybody fed right there. That's pretty impressive. But look, thank y'all for being here tonight. What a fun night. Brian said it. It's been a wild year in the Waldrop household and the Waldrop family. Just to think of everything that's gone on over the past year with ourselves, but our journey to be here and a part of this family in Hoover. We've had a lot of adversity over the last few months. These players have had a lot of adversity, have worked very hard and stayed together and competed hard and worked hard to get to where we are today. And, as the head coach, I think I can speak on behalf of our assistant coaches tonight. We're so proud of our players, so proud of this organization. Hoover High School football is a first-class football program. And it takes so many people to make a program be successful and be as strong as it is. And this program is filled with great people. It starts with your administration, Board of Education. Football and sports matter to the people of Hoover. It matters to our principals, to our administration, Mr. Montgomery and his staff there at the school. It matters to our athletic department staff, Coach Urban, Coach Brigman, Coach Smith, Coach Lamy, Miss Vicky and Miss Suzette, the ladies in the office that make athletics go daily. It's a priority. And, these senior guys are going to walk out of here in a couple months. They're going to go out into the real world. They're always going to have a place back at Hoover to come back to, because that's the family atmosphere that's been created there in that office. And we wouldn't be where we are without that Board of Education, without that strong administration. Our BTC, just again, to speak about how lucky we are to have a group of people that work and go do their jobs throughout the course of the day and throughout the course of the year, but make you guys, you players, a priority in their lives. It's huge. I don't know if our guys will really understand how lucky they are to have the people in that organization working for them, providing food, providing all the things that you need to have a first-class program, and the parents that are involved in that, and there are so many. It would take all night to lay all those out, but they just do so much for us and make our job as coaches much easier and much better, and we're very, very thankful for you guys. Our band and our cheer, I know they're not here tonight. There may be some mixed in, but you come to a game on Friday night right out here at the Met, and there's not a better atmosphere. The people of Alabama spoke and said that as much. They voted that the Met was the best place to play a high school football game. And when you put our band and our cheer and all of our people into that arena on a Friday night, along with our great players, it is a special place. And it would not be that way without all of those people. To you parents that are out there, I'd just like to take a minute and say thank you. You senior parents, you're kind of on the back end of it. Your guys can drive around and for the most part get where they need to go. But you sophomore parents, and we probably don't have very many of them here tonight. We got freshman parents coming up. The commitment that you have to make as parents in order to get your players and your guys where they need to be daily, year-round, to be a part of this program, that commitment is it's not unnoticed by myself. It's not unnoticed by our staff, and it's greatly appreciated. The commitment that you make and the sacrifices that you make in order to get your kids here and be a part of our program. Without that sacrifice and commitment, this program wouldn't be where it is today. We've got great trainers, doctors, Encore Sports Medicine, the people that take care of our guys. Again, just a blessing. So thankful for y'all. Our sponsors out there that do so much for us, the groups that feed us, that put the money into this program so that we can put that back to our kids. It's second to none. I think, Coach Urban and I were talking the other day just about the people of this program. Nationwide, just a quick little deal. For this season, nationwide, Hoover High School sold more tickets to their high school football games than anybody else in the country. All right, that's through GoFan. He got a report from them. Nobody in Alabama was close, and we led the country in ticket sales. So that just speaks to what football means and what this program means to this community. So very, very appreciative. To our pastors and our local churches, just thank you so much for what you guys did for us this year, partnering alongside us, pouring into our kids, providing, physical fuel, but also, fueling spiritual fuel and providing that for our guys along the way. So grateful for you guys and looking forward to continuing that in the off season and having you guys pouring into these young men and being a part of their lives. Like to just say thank you to our coaches. These guys have worked really hard. You know, they spend hours and hours and hours, obviously at the school working, but you know, players and parents, these guys take this job home with them every night. These guys are thinking about, you know, at all hours of the day, trying to figure out ways to make your son a better player and to make this team a better team. And I'm very grateful for the time that they put in, the work that they put in, the commitment, the support that they've done. And, you know, to y'all's families, to our coaches' families and our wives, just thank y'all so much. We couldn't do the job that we love to do and feel called to do without y'all's support and y'all being there behind us and really, you know, holding down the home front when we're here working with these young men and being a part of this program. So to the wives and families, thank y'all very much. But finally, the most important group here, and the whole reason we're here tonight is not to hear Coach Waldrop talk. We're not really here to hear anybody talk. We're here to recognize these guys. And, you know, you start laying out thanks for a season, and you talk about all the people that are important, and there are so many, but the most important group here tonight are the young men sitting in these seats. They all made decisions to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They all made decisions to be a part of a team and be a part of a program. For many of these guys tonight, this will be the last time that as a group that they're together. And it's been so many years that some of these guys have been together and played together, you know, along the way. Just the commitment level, the sacrifice. When I got here in February, you know, and I'm showing up at 6:30 in the morning, and, you know, there's 110 guys lined up in the gym. It's dark outside. Many mornings it's raining. It's cold. It'd be really good to be in bed, you know, and there's 100 guys in the gym lined up to get ready to go to work for something that, you know, was 4, 5, 6 months away. It's just really impressive as a coach. You know, I think all of our coaches have kind of been there, but when you step back and you look at it from a leadership standpoint, you're the head coach, you really appreciate the buy-in, you appreciate what these young men have done. So to you players, just from me, and I've tried to say it along the way, I appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys. We're thankful for you. We're proud of you. And as I told y'all the night that we walked off the field at Thompson, you know, you guys will graduate from Hoover. Hoover 1 will never graduate from you. You know, you'll graduate from this program, but I will never graduate from you, and these coaches will never graduate from you. We'll always be there for you, and we'll always appreciate this year and be very proud of this year and what you guys have done. With that being said, I'd like to recognize our coaches, and if they could, just as I call their names, if you could just stand up where you're at, and we can applaud there at the end. Got a few to go down here, so guys, if you would just stand up when I call your name. Starting on the offensive side, Coach Wiley McKellar, Coach Jamie Scruggs, Coach Chris Smelly, Coach Isaiah Jackson, Coach Russ Pilkington, Coach Corey Seal, Coach Tony Drew. Over on the defensive side, Coach Granville Eastman, Coach Chris Wilson, Coach David Crabtree, Coach Josh Reeves, Coach A.J. Davis, Coach Danny Stiff, Coach Clay Gorham, Coach Austin Harrell, and Coach Jerry Fuqua. Couple on the support side, our video operations, Coach Harley Lamy, if you could stand up, and Coach Daniel King, if you could stand up, please. Coach McCoy is not here tonight, along with Coach Brooks. They had other places they could be or had to be tonight, so we hate that they're not here. We've got a couple other guys before these guys sit down that kind of make Friday night go down there on the field. And if I could just have these young men stand up. Ben Scruggs. These are our ball boys, Tucker Crabtree, Cooper Waldrop, and Grant Morrison. Grant, are you here tonight? Did Grant make it tonight? Good deal. If we could just give these guys a round of applause. They do so much for our programs. Thank you, guys. And at this point in time, we're going to start recognizing our players. As we go through this, Coach Fuqua is going to come up, and Coach Harrell, if you guys would come up and help hand these certificates out to these players. We're going to start off by recognizing our sophomore football players and our freshman football players. We actually have a couple of those in this group as well. And then we'll move into our junior players, and then we'll get into some special awards, and then on to our senior recognition. So, Coach Fuqua, if you could come up and recognize these guys.
It's hard to believe it's already been another year, but as I go through the notes I used last year and listening to Mr. Hubbard and Coach Waldrop, it's always the same thing. People behind the scenes are the ones you got to thank the most, which is why we're here along with the seniors. But bear with me because my list is just as long as everybody else's, but they're crucial to what we do every Monday. The parents, obviously, for being here to support, recognize our seniors, Mr. Montgomery and his administration staff for their support. Also, Andy Urban and Lisa Bridgman for their continued support from the athletic office and guidance every year. Training staff, Coach Peterson, Coach Beelan, and Cody Arndt for taking care of the players on Monday and also during practices. Dr. Ellerbush and his staff taking care of any injuries that we have and making sure the kids are ready to go week after week. Got to say thanks to, obviously, the JV assistant coaches for everything they do on Mondays, before and after the games, and also what they have to do during the week to prepare for Friday night games. And along with that, the varsity coaches, a big part in what we did on Mondays this year, helping with offensive calls and the defensive calls. JV cheerleaders, Anna Claire and her staff for being at the games on Mondays. The biggest thing, like Coach Waldrop already mentioned, is also the parents. You guys get your kids to the school at 6:30 in the morning, waking them up at 5:45, and then you're picking them up in late November after the season is over, after school every day. So it doesn't happen without you guys, and that's a special thank you to make this a successful program, especially starting in the 10th grade. Katie Hubbard and the BTC for taking care of our meals on Monday nights and making sure they're delivered week in and week out. I'm going to change what I do. Normally this year, I want to bring the kids up first before I mention anything about our season, because it was a good one. But if you'll just hold your applause, players come up, get your award from the coaches. I need you to walk down and line up all the way across, because you guys bear with me. It's always the same thing every year. This is our biggest number of kids, and tonight's no different with over 50 names. So you guys tempo it on the way up for me. First one, Anthony Allen. Here. Sam Anderton. Tyson Batchelor. Jack Brandt. Amari Bryant. Dylan Bunkley. J.R. Clark. Samson Kohler. I got it right just for you, Samson. I always call him Sam because it rolls off the tongue so much easier. Landon Costello. Landon, if you want to stay, want to bring it? Okay, Landon suffered a little injury last week. Avery Crawford. Darius Crawley. Matthew Diabes. Trey Darden. Paul Jermea. Storm Fain. Jacob Fleming. Moss Fleming. TJ Fields. Nick Frazier. Marion Gardner. Daryl Gardner. Corey Hayes. Luke Hosley. Parker Hubbard. Sam Huffstutler. Ricky Ibarra. Jordan Jacobs. Stratton Jones, Carter Kerr, Chris Lauder, James Mazey, Jamar Moultrie, Nick Musso, Caden Prayer, Caleb Reynolds, Toby Richard. You want to stay, it's up to you. Come on up if you want. Jeremiah Robinson, Brandon Rudolph, Brady Shepard, Fabian Schuler, Stephen Snodsmith, Cam Spates, Cam Sumter, John Sutton, Bobby Silla, Dylan Thuo, Sam Updike, Chris Warren, John Wisenhunt, Donnell Williams, Sam Wood, Amari Walker, this year, every year our kids get better and better throughout what they do in middle school. That's a credit to those coaches. But when you have ninth graders come in and step up like these two did this year, it's kind of a special program. We got Noah Schubach, as you all know, played a crucial part, and Jonah Winston. You guys come up. A few things about our season. You guys didn't make it to every game. It was quite a sight to see. And, a few of the highlights, 6-0, undefeated for the first time in 5 years. Going back to last season, you juniors know we've won 11 in a row, which is impressive to me as the coach and also for everything you guys have to do every week. The stats from the season: offense averaged 30 points a game, scoring-wise. Defense allowed only 10 points a game, as well as having 2 shutouts. Of all these games, and we had 8 on the schedule, and as usual, 2 teams chicken out, so we only played 6 instead of 8. 2 games that are great examples of how hard these guys played each week, and were able to overcome a little adversity during the game and find a way to win. The first one was Hewitt Trustful. It was back and forth in the second half, and not one of our better achievements or efforts in the first quarter. But we found a way to persevere and won 28-24. A great effort on the kids' part. Next game was the next week, Mountain Brook. More of a defensive battle. Kids played hard. Special teams was the difference in that one, score being 13-12. So this is just 2 examples of how well these guys did week to week. But the biggest thing that's impressive is the amount of practice time we do or don't have, as well as the kids that we don't know if we're going to have them till maybe Monday morning after practice. So it's kind of a fly by the seat of your pants every week as far as who we get to play with. But before I close here, I can't end everything without having those and recognize, and you know who you are, those 12 to 15, 10th or 11th graders that made the commitment to play with us on Monday night. Without you guys, this thing isn't successful as it was this year. But I appreciate what you guys did too, as far as my juniors. Let's give these guys a round of applause. Future is bright as long as these guys stick together and you're back around next season. I thank you guys for coming up, and you can sit down.
You know, just echoing and following up on Coach and just speaking on behalf of that freshman class and that sophomore class right there together as we go into our junior class. Just a couple things. As parents, you know, especially as parents of those kids, Monday nights are hard. You know, it's a hard night. Being here, I've learned something. You know, if a team can get out of playing on Monday night against Hoover, they're going to try to find a way to get out of Monday night playing against Hoover. So that group only ended up with 6 games. Coach Fuqua does a great job of making sure our guys are prepared and making sure our guys get the most out of those Monday nights that we can. 10th grade is the hardest year to play football in high school. It's the hardest. Freshman year, you've got your own team. You're kind of your own show. You're separate. You know, you're still kind of there's nobody really above you. You get into 10th grade, and to me, that's where programs are made, 10th and 11th grade. Going through the fall camp, going through the practices on Monday, and then coming back on Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon after playing a game on Monday night, there's a lot of toughness and there's a lot of character developed by going through that. And I think great programs are made with those games and in those years. You know, we're going to honor our seniors here in just a few minutes. We're going to recognize those guys. That's the end. You know, that's where we're all trying to go. But I don't think a great program can be great without being really good on Monday nights in that 10th grade year and for some in that junior year. I just think it's very valuable. Told the sophomore class and the juniors the other day we're starting our off-season program, and the future of the program was standing here and is about to be standing here in just a minute as well. Got to work, got to get strong, got to get better, and try to, you know, pick up and continue where this senior class left off. But with that being said, let's recognize our junior players. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to call those guys up. If we could just hold that applause till the end, and we will recognize them and applaud for them when we're done. First junior, Kamal Emerson. Cooper Bevis. Cooper Bevis. I'm sorry, Cooper. Garrett Brasher. Isaiah Chamara. Jeremy Cook. Cooper Darty. Freddie Dunson. Leslie Folster. DJ Garner. Braden Gerstenberg. Micah Hampton. Jamar Jones. Taylor Jones. Christian Marcus. Jimmy Morrell. Preston Morrison. Michael Nixon. Garrett Page. Tori Robinson. Monty Royster. Bradley Shaw. Rashad Smith. Brody Stacy. Jamie Travis. Chris Wilburn. Jordan Woolen. And Casey Zilstra. and Peyton Morris. This is a class of 2024. You know, parents, players, ask the guys in front of you. It's going to be fast. This thing's fixing to really get moving quickly for you guys. You're going to look up, and you're going to be sitting there as seniors. So we got a lot of work to do. Very proud of this group. Let's give these guys a big round of applause. Thank you, guys. You can go to your seats now. Okay, as we move forward, we're going to go into some special presentation of player awards. I would like for Coach Wood, our historian, if he could come up and just give a few minutes and a little bit of background on a couple of the awards that we're going to be handing out. I don't think there's anyone better than to come in and talk a little bit about some of the people that we're going to recognize and give awards in their name than Coach Wood. So, could Coach Wood?
Thank you, Coach Waldrop. Coach Waldrop asked me to go over the Victor Hill Award, the background of Victor. Now, you players know the picture, wall of Victor Deontay Hill, which all the players back then called D. I just called him Vic. But Victor moved here his sixth grade year, I think back in '97, and Simmons Middle School. Was a running back, defensive back. I worked with the line, so I never worked with this position. And I really didn't get to know Victor probably the midway of his seventh grade year. He's one of those kids I remember as a hard, dedicated worker in the weight room. Like I said, I just knew him briefly at Simmons. When he was a ninth grader at the high school at Hoover in 2000, he played with a strong group, John Parker Wilson, Curtis Dawson, several other good players. They went undefeated, showed a lot of promise as a running back. That year, Hoover won their first state championship. Next year in 2001, Victor, as a sophomore running back, played mostly JV, got in a few games late, runaway contest. And I remember going into his junior year in the spring of 2002, widely expected that he'd be starting at running back. However, that summer, June, we had an injury to one of our DBs, and Coach Rush Probst asked him to move to cornerback. Victor's the type that he'd put the team, first. He wasn't really happy about moving from offense. He worked at that position for about a week or so. Tragically, in like a 7-on-7 practice type setup on the soccer field, Victor collapsed and went to the hospital and passed away. Brandon Shepard, quite familiar with that situation since he was part of it. That season of 2002, of course, the year before we were runner-up, Daphne, so it was kind of a incentive to come back and win a state championship again. But it was really tough that fall, August, actually. All those players, I'm sure you could probably think, would this happen to me? A lot of apprehension in certain ways. But in time, players kind of bonded together and used Victor as sort of a catalyst to help motivate them. I remember the very first game at home, playing at Buccaneer Stadium, right before the game, Rush Probst, if you ever knew Rush, he could get kind of animated in his pregame speeches. but he was bringing Victor into the equation, telling the players, look, Victor gave his life football. He dedicated his total life to football. At the time, I was thinking, Russ, this is a little bit over the top. Then I thought about later, he really did. I don't mean so much to the sport of football, but to the Hoover football program. That year, as we progressed, we lost to Tuscaloosa County on our homecoming. Kind of got it back together and pulled it together in the playoffs and won another state championship. That would have been his junior year. Next year, carried over into 2003 and won another state championship. First of 4, 2002 to 2005. Along about 2004, college coach Tony Franklin, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's hosted various places throughout. He was here that day. That tragedy happened to Victor in June of 2002. He asked me if I'd help him write a book on Victor. I'll title it Victor's Victory. Because my memory with Victor was he was very respectful, was a dedicated ball player, but that's really about all I knew about him. And Tony asked me to accumulate certain former students and whoever to deposit this book. I was learning more and more about Victor the person, not just Victor the player. And it was remarkable. In fact, we have copies of that book in the library. There's so many things I learned about that young man, not just as an athlete, but as a person. Going reflecting back a little bit on the season, I think of a few of the quotes. One of the players mentioned that during practice when things get hard, kind of beyond means of surviving, so to speak, somebody just yell out, what would D do? What would Victor do? Kind of bring them together. One of the most memorable quotes I can remember was a guy named Drew Hall, played center on the 2003 team. He said, the misconception about us winning those state championships said, we didn't win those for Victor. A lot of people say we're going to dedicate the season to this person. We're going to win a championship for this team. He said, Victor never really left us. He was with the team the whole time. So we didn't win it for Victor. We won it with Victor. And I always thought about that Victor's life has transcended 22 years, because, like I said, it was 20 years ago that he died. And I remember the banquet we had early 2003, and quite a bit was dedicated to the memory of Victor. And we, of course, had Victor Hill Award. We have one of those at Simmons also. But we have, 3 different Victor Hill Awards. Is Cheryl here? She couldn't make it. We're hoping that his mother, Cheryl, can make it. By the way, we'd retired number 8, his jersey, his varsity jersey. Kept it retired several years. Last year, R.J. Hamilton came up to me, or I guess he asked Coach Urban about wearing that number 8. I thought, well, I don't know. Kept it retired for so long. I said, how about you talking to Cheryl, Miss Hill, and getting her feel about it? So we had a little ceremony before the Vestavia game last year, and RJ was injured most of the year, but he wore that game the last 2 regular season games and the playoff games. Now we're initiated worthy player wear that number 8. I don't know if it's just the word ironic, but Brady Shepard, sophomore, has acquired that number, and I'm sure we'll wear it the next 2 years, and we want to keep that tradition going from here on. So
All good. All right, so if our coaches would come up, we've got, we're going to present these 3 awards under Victor Hill's name. Coach Reeves will be the first one to actually come up and present.
Good evening. Oh, y'all can do better than that. Good evening. So I'm supposed to present this first award of Victor Hill. So anytime I get up and talk in front of somebody, I want to do my homework. Coach Wood done it good, and I'm going to try to do it a little bit better. My Bible tells me in Matthew 22:14, for many are called, but few are chosen. Y'all know this is my first year here at Hoover High School, and I'd like to thank Coach Waldrop, Coach Urban, the coaching staff, Coach Eastman, for bringing me aboard. But when I got here, talked about this guy, and when I got to the weight room, they said, he's the one. Who they talking about? They just kept saying, he's the one. Many are called, but few are chosen. This guy was not only chosen in the weight room, as Victor was. This guy killed it in the weight room. This guy played with tremendous passion. He had a passion for the game that was unwavering, no matter what the score was, no matter the circumstance. His leadership, people naturally gravitated to him. And then one thing I preach to my guys up front, anybody that know about the defensive line, is the AED. They told me on that tragic day in June when Tony Franklin was there watching that they had to bring out an AED. If you ever had to use an AED, it's to shock somebody. As defensive linemen, and they've heard it before, we try to shock offensive linemen, get our hands on them before and bring them back to life. Although Victor wasn't able to be brought back to life, this guy brought back many offensive linemen back to life, such as ours, Hewitt Trustfields, Thompsons. The last thing I'll say about this guy before I present this award, Victor was called Sugar Hill, and this guy right here is called Honey Bun. This award will go to Andrew Parrish.
Well, I'm gonna say thank you. I'm not gonna be as long. I'm gonna say thank you to Coach Waldrop for giving me a call, to come up to the high school and coach. So for the last 4 years, I've been hearing the story about Victor Hill, Coach Wood, and so when I got the name of the guy who I had to present this award to, I said, okay, I can see that. But when I got here in the spring, this gentleman was playing receiver, and he bugged me the whole spring. Coach, tell him to put me in at running back. Tell him to give me a running back. I said, okay, I'm going to make a case for you. So in the fall, we put him at running back. Coach, I need to play receiver. I said, okay, all right. You're going to have to figure out which one you want to do. You're going to have to, you're going to have to give me something to work with. And so we had many different conversations. He actually allowed me to grow as a coach because I've never coached a kid like him. Taught me how to have a lot more patience. I remember we was playing against Tuscaloosa County, and before the half, I think we fumbled the ball with maybe 4 times. And I said, oh, my God, I'm about to get fired. I was just like, oh, my goodness. And I remember at half going in there talking to them, to the running backs very nicely, and I said, hey, guys, please, if you could just please turn this thing around, and, my whole family's going to be happy. And so we come back out to half, and Lamarian just turned on a switch, and he rushed for almost 250 yards that night. And so with that being said, I want to give this award to Mr. Lamarian McCammon.
My name is Chris Wilson, and I coach the safeties. Once again, I probably shouldn't be last following those two guys, but I have a few stats up here just to talk about the guy that I'm going to present this award to. I have a few non-football stats, and then I have some actual football statistics to take part in. And it's going to give it away pretty simple with the non-football stats, because anybody knows who I'm about to say is this person has the deepest voice I've ever met besides James Earl Jones. And so if you know, anybody's ever spoken to this young man, you're going to understand he has no weird nickname like Honey Bun. I don't know that I've ever seen him eat. So when he comes up here, I'm just going to share a little bit about his football career. He made some great plays for us this year. He's a senior leader on this team, a leader in our room, always showing up, always doing what he's supposed to do. He was a part of 52 tackles on the season. He had 6 PBUs. He also had 6 interceptions, which led the team, including one of the best interceptions I've ever seen at versus Thompson in the end zone. He just did a magnificent job in the room leading people this year. And the Victor Hill Award that I'm presenting goes to Mr. Jay Avery.
Good evening. It's my extreme honor to present here today. I'm presenting the Coaches Award today to one of my very own players. The Coaches Award is an award chosen by our very own head coach, Wade Waldrop. The award goes to players that showed an incredible amount of character, integrity, qualities that exemplifies what it means to be a Buck. No one on our team showed more of that this year than Lynn Wood. Lynn came to me as a young man 3 years ago in our program, and from that day that he got on varsity, he was very impressive. Did not have the biggest frame, he did not have the most athletic ability, but he had a willingness and an eagerness to take in coaching and make the most out of every situation he was placed in. Often this year, we talked about sacrifice. Lynn is a young man in our program who sacrificed every day for the betterment of the team. I only had 1 year coaching this young man. See, when Lynn got on the varsity, he played defensive tackle. Then for Coach Matt Hicks. Then he moved to defensive end for Coach Mike Brown. Finally, he came over to me. And I asked these coaches, when he came to the Y position, what's this kid like to coach? They both said he listens, he takes coaching, and he will be the most selfless kid you ever had the chance to coach. Lynn did that in his final season here. This year, Lynn had some ups and downs while being on the field. Lynn had a battle and injury coming into practice. He missed 2 games at the start of the year until he got to the point where he could at least push through and at least play with the pain. See, Lynn's injury was not one that was ever going to heal on its own. It was only going to get strong enough to where he could actually plant off his toe. Having suffered the injury myself in my career, I know the pain that he had to deal with, and he never complained. Games 4 through 13, he never let it ever be a crutch for his play. You see, everyone in this world will eventually pass. And when we pass, we have a tombstone. We have on there our name, and we have the year that we're born, a dash, and the year that we die. Just a small dash represents our time. And I am honored and proud to know that Lynn Wood is a part of my dash. This young man impacted my life in a very positive way. And the 2022 recipient of the Hoover Buccaneer Coaches Award is Lynn Wood. If you were to take out your phone tonight and search the word tough, you would see that the first definition is strong enough to withstand adverse conditions. If you were to type in the popular phrase, jack of all trades, the definition pops up as a person who could do many different types of jobs. Jack Lamy, there's no better way to sum up his career at this place. When I break down the term tough, I cannot help but see Jack, someone who was tough enough to endure all that he had to endure, strong enough to withstand adverse conditions. I want everyone to understand that Jack's adverse situations. Jack came here before his junior year. Jack started off on defense, and he worked his way to offense, quarterback, then moved to running back. Then he rushed for 150 yards in a spring game and gets injured. He had to require surgery. Over the summer, at 7-on-7s, Jack played wideout. Then he finally comes to the Y position. kind of sums up the idea of jack of all trades. The phrase meaning the person is talented in multiple ways. Jack endured all these things before starting his senior year. The physical side has definitely took its toll, but the mental fatigue gets to players as well. However, Jack is different. He endured the challenges and faced them all with no fear. Just like Jack was getting comfortable at that new position, he had a hamstring injury before our second game and missed the next 5 ball games. After all that, a lot of kids in the past that I've known would have just kind of looked around and asked, why fight back for another round? Jack did what tough people do. He balled his fist up. He began to fight, coming back as strong to push through a finish. And it was from the great film series Rocky that we get this quote that kind of sums up Jack. But it's not how hard you can get hit. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Jack, you'll have all the success you want in this world. You are not a lot of things, but one thing you are for sure is tough. Coach's Award for 2022, Jack Lamy.
Good evening. I'm Coach Scruggs. I'm the offensive line coach here, and get the opportunity to give out another one of the coaches' awards to a guy in our unit. You know, this guy is just beginning to scratch the surface, and you know, if I told you that, you wouldn't believe me, but believe me, he's just beginning to scratch the surface of what his abilities are potential-wise. This offensive lineman played the position with consistency and intelligence every game for us at left tackle. He came to work every day with focused intent to perfect his craft, and I couldn't be more proud of him. Can't wait to watch him grow and develop in the Duco line room the next 4 years. Ethan Hubbard.
So I got here August 1st. The first day of practice was my first day coaching here. And this award's going to go to somebody in my position room. And the first day I didn't know their names. I knew about 5 or 6 things we did on defense that I got down pretty good. The rest of it I hadn't figured out yet. And the hardest thing for me was going out there coaching these guys and not really knowing them. I knew after about 2 practices how much talent this guy had and kind of what he could be for us. So, you know, trying to figure this whole thing out, I sat him down. We probably talked 30 minutes to an hour maybe. Went in an office by ourselves, and I was like, look, man, like, you don't know me that well. I don't know you that well. So we can't leave here until we know each other. Because I felt like I couldn't coach him unless I knew him, and that he wouldn't take the coaching from me unless he knew me. And kind of from that point on, we had a different relationship where I felt like, you know, I could keep pushing him every day and kind of press some of his buttons to see how he went. And this is a guy that got better every single week, and he is nowhere near where he's going to be down the road when he gets to college. I wish I had another year with him, but he's a guy I'm really proud of. I really enjoyed coaching him. All my guys, man, I love you guys. I enjoyed coaching y'all. This is a great year. But this coach's award goes to Jordan Norman, who had 68 tackles, 10 sacks, probably had a PBU every game, interception, and just a guy that I'm really proud of. He's got a bright future in front of him.
All right, once again, Chris Wilson, I'm back again. My award goes to another guy with the safeties. I won't share any non-football statistics with this young man. This young man had enough football statistics to talk about. Once again, leader in our group, knew exactly what was going on, probably knew every position, everything that we talked about in the room, knew all the coverages, knew what everybody else was supposed to do. Just a leader and an inspirational guy, always kind of, you know, on the field trying to get pep talk, getting people to play. He basically played 3 positions on defense, depending on what the call was. You know, he could be a defensive end, he could be a linebacker, he could be a hash safety. And this guy, like his stats talk about all of it. He was a part of 50 tackles on the year, 15 tackles for loss. He had 8 pass breakups. He had an interception. He had 2 caused fumbles and a recovered fumble. He had 4 quarterback hurries and 6 sacks. So he did a little bit of everything on defense, caused a lot of problems. He's probably one of the most gifted blitzers I've ever seen as far as getting across the line and timing things up and just wreaking havoc on offense. This award goes to DJ Estes.
Okay, Coach Wood is going to come up, and he's going to talk a little bit about the Ben Abercrombie Award.
Ben Abercrombie was a defensive back safety for us back in years 2014, 15, and 16. He's an excellent player. I think of one of the first big games was his sophomore year. Big plays. We're playing Miami Central on ESPN, open the season out here at Buccaneer Stadium, like a noontime kickoff. Wasn't quite as hot as that 05 game we played against Timmy Tebow's team, ESPN, to open the year. But I remember our defense stopped them early, and Miami Central had probably the worst snapper in high school history. Yeah, I'd throw it almost 3 feet above the punter. Anyway, the guy snagged it, and Ben blocked the punt. We got the ball about the 5-yard line. Didn't do anything with it. Didn't even get a field goal out of it. But I remember that particular play out of Ben. Played a lot of special teams, played a lot of DB his sophomore year in 2014 when we won a third of state championships in 2012, 13, and 14. I had sort of a down year the next year. Had the sin of losing to Spain Park 2015 twice, so that's the only time it's ever happened. Hope that stays that way. 2016, he was one of the top leaders for our defense. Probably one of the best defenses we've had here was 2016. Ben was just an outstanding young man, outstanding student, signed with Harvard University. Obviously, you have to be an outstanding student, signed with Harvard. And I think it was his first game or the second game they were playing up there. And here we always worry about his neck injury, partial head injury. Making a tackle, I don't know if it was on a special teams or just regular defensive scrimmage play. But anyway, it obviously ended his football career. However, Ben is one of those rare type individuals where perseverance is just more than a byword with him. I know we got some media coverage for a while that happened to Ben and him coming back from severe neck injury. He slowly gotten more mobility, wheelchairs, especially designed wheelchair. I've met him 4 or 5 times. Every time I think of Ben, I think that smile. He's always smiling. Always has a positive outlook on life. And I believe in the last year and a half or 2, he's trying to finish up his degree at Harvard. And I think he's on a, sure what you call it, I think it's Joe and Hero, these college prediction games. I think he's one of the 3 guys who predicts college football games at during the football season. Anyway, he's somebody that we're proud of in this program. Winners of this obviously is very worthy.
Good evening. My name's Chris Smelly. This is my first year coaching at Hoover High School, and I'm very appreciative of Coach Waldrop and Coach Urban and just Hoover for accepting me and giving me the opportunity to coach here. And So I'm giving out the Ben Abercrombie Award to one of my players. And two of the words that were just used there, perseverance and positive, were essentially some of the words that I have to describe Brewer Smith. Brewer's got a certain level of maturity about him, just the way he carries himself and handles himself, and as he's sitting in the meeting room and on the football field. It's just a very positive mindset and is a natural leader. Brewer had to overcome a lot of adversity this year. Went from being our starting quarterback in the spring and heading into the season to suffering an injury and having to sort of slowly recover and rehab from that. And that really set him back a good bit. And it was about week 5 or 6 when he was really finally getting into his groove and had really, finally gotten those reps in and felt confident and comfortable with everything that we were doing. He gets hurt when we're playing against Oak Mountain. And so he had shoulder surgery and thought it was going to end his season for good. But a couple weeks later, I come out for a Monday practice, and he's got his jersey on, and he's down there, and he's cleared faster than he was supposed to be cleared and all this kind of stuff, and went right back into that same just mature mindset and approach to preparing and being ready if his name got called. So he had a chance to really bow out, but he stepped up to the challenge again. Now, one thing, Ben Abercrombie went to Harvard, and Brewer, his favorite subject is PE. I can guarantee you. We've had lots of talks about that, and I love Brewer. I'm blessed and honored to be able to have coached him this year. He's a tremendous leader as our starting quarterback, and so the Ben Abercrombie Award goes to Brewer Smith.
Our next award is the Eddie Giles Service Award. Again, Coach Wood is going to give just a brief background on Mr. Eddie Giles.
I personally got to know Eddie back about early 90s, I believe it was. My dad, pastor, his church across town in Sandusky, got to know his family. His son, they lived in Hoover at the time. He had a son named Brian who played linebacker on our middle school team back at Simmons back in the 95, 96. And when Brian came to the high school here, was a senior on the 2000 state title team. During Brian's time, Eddie thought it'd be kind of neat to do what he could do on the sidelines, helping in any way he could, setting up and so forth. So he did what he could with other people's help. Had 2 daughters, twin daughters, Anna and Amanda. They were seniors in 2004. That was Coach Stiff's senior year. And I thought, no, Eddie going to finish it up here and leave us? I said, Eddie, you going to stay with us a little while? Or I don't know. I said, well, come on. Do what you keep doing here. I said, all right, I guess I will. So he has, ever since that time, you see him on the sideline. I don't know if you know who he is sometimes, but I know you've seen him doing this and that, setting up, and then take it down at the end of the ball games. On it, service award is really an understatement because he does over and beyond in helping our program.
It really is an honor to present this service award. In my short time here, I realize that it's men like him with that heart of a servant is just one of the things that makes this place so special. There's a young man on our team in our position group again in that O-line room, and that room really represents the heart of a servant because it's one of the few things in sports where your job is to make sure others can do their job well. And this young man just exemplifies that. He was at every practice. He started all 13 games for us at center. This year's winner displays that servant's heart in everything that he does on the field and, more importantly, off the field. Grant Bonner.
Mr. Giles keeps everything rolling on Friday night. He's a part of that Buck crew, and they do a fabulous job. I mean, we wouldn't get things done on Friday night without those guys. Coach Lamy will be coming up now, and he will be presenting the most inspirational award, and this was voted on by the players. Coach Lamy.
How y'all doing? I'm Coach Lamy, director of video operations, one of the assistant ADs, and head wrestling coach. Get the honor to be around these guys. Spend a lot of time with them, and I can't go on without saying how amazing it is to have somebody like Coach Wood, who has a knowledge of the program and continue to share it with us. It's an amazing resource to sit and listen to him talk. And Coach Wood, I appreciate it, and I love listening to you tell stories about Hoover football and how great the program is. So thank you. So Coach Waldrop asked me to speak and give the most inspirational award. And if you think just a little bit, it probably wouldn't be too hard to figure out who it is. But I'm gonna come at it from my point of view. And now to get the honor to stand here and give this award, it was really, really, really hard to do. Like, to go through it, to live it, it was terrible. I mean, it was terrible. And I've had some of my athletes pass away, and none of that stuff's good. And this was hard. I remember I got the call that this student had been in a car wreck. And, you know, you hear that. Sometimes it's just kind of like a fender bender or whatever. And so we heard it was kind of significant. So it was myself, Coach Merrill, Coach Waldrop. We go to the hospital. When we can't get in, they won't let us in because of COVID regulations and whatnot. And so we didn't actually see what was going on, how bad it really was. A few days later, finally able to get access to come in. And I understand why his mom didn't want anybody to take pictures of him when he was in that state. I really wish there would have been some way to record it other than in my memory, so that people could really appreciate the miraculous power of God and what he did in this young man's life. To see him in that hospital bed, and when I say hooked up to everything, I mean hooked up to everything. Sensors everywhere, neck brace, tubes in. I mean, it was really a really graphic situation. And the first day that I got to see him, I went out in my truck and I sat in the parking deck and I squalled. I mean, I sat there and I was shaking. It hurt to see him that way. And as we went on, I remember sitting at the foot of a bed watching him, and the nurse came in, and this kind of hit me. She said, you know, the next 3 days are going to be crucial, whether he makes it or not. It wasn't, you know, whether he gets up and walks. It was whether he makes it or not. So it was at the point where they thought that this young man was going to pass away from his injuries. Injuries, you may know, had a traumatic brain injury, broke his femur, has some injuries in his abdomen, and to see it from where it is or where it was then to now I see him. I mean, there's some days where I just go up and hug him. There's days he looks at me like I'm weird because I'm just sitting there smiling, you know, just staring at him, smiling at him. And it truly is a miracle that this young man is back. And to see him battle and continue to work and work and work and try to get back. And he wasn't able to get cleared to come back and play football, but he's been cleared to participate in athletics now. He's earned an offer from a school in New Orleans that's wanting to give him a lot of money, so probably not going to have to pay for school, so that's another blessing. But I think you can hear from deep within me that to see where Toshi was when the wreck happened to where Toshi is now, this is truly, truly a case of come see what the Lord has done. I think you should get to your feet and give God praise and thanks for what he has done. And I present to you the most inspirational player, Toshi Yamamoto.
It truly is amazing to see the physical condition and mental condition that young man was when I arrived. Just the hopes. You could see an athlete. You could see a tough, strong guy that just worked really, really hard. And then to see him in that broken state, but to see him back where he is today, and the amount of practices that he made, the workouts that he made when he knew he was not going to play it down to be with his team. The guy's got it right. His hands down, the most inspirational player we've got right there. So proud for Toshi. The next couple of awards that we're gonna give are our Buck Awards. These are also voted on by the players. So there'll be 2 from offense, 2 from defense, 2 from special teams, and our coaches will come up and present those now.
Good evening. I'm Coach Wiley McKellar. I'm your offensive coordinator. And let me first say, what a great event and a great crowd to have out here tonight. This is really, really awesome for the kids and the program. And I know that I can speak for all the coaches. We're just really, really excited to be a part of it and part of the program here at Hoover High School. I'm here to present the Buck Awards for offense. And as it was told to me, these are voted on by the players. And they represent who the players believe are the difference makers on their respective side of the football. So during a football game, there's going to be great things that are going to happen, and there's going to be you're going to face some adversity. And these are the guys that the players feel like they can turn to for that focus and that leadership and that inspiration to get through those difficult times, whether it be in a game or especially difficult practice or whatever it happens to be. As a player, if you're receiving one of these awards, understand this is, again, voted on by the guys that you go to bat with every single day. And, if you're going to get an award, this is a pretty good one to get, because this is how the people, your peers, this is how they see you through their eyes. So pretty awesome to get one of these things. The 2 guys that are going to receive the Buck Award tonight for offense are offensive lineman A.J. Franklin and wide receiver K.J. Law.
Good evening. I'm David Crabtree. I coach the linebackers, and I've had the privilege of being here for 3 years. And so these 2 defensive guys that I'm going to give this award to, I've had the pleasure of coaching them for 3 years, and one of the guys for 2 years. So this award, like Coach said, is being a difference maker. And so doing things that help put the team in a position to win. These guys go the extra mile, not only on Friday nights, but throughout the week, I believe. And so these players are at the top of the list for what we call a havoc score. And our havoc score consists of tackles, sacks, interceptions, fumble recoveries, and anything else that would help us win the play. We're always play the play. We would also talk about being the standard in our group, striving for excellence, and being above reproach. And so those are 3 big key factors that I would always push to my unit group that I thought was important on the field and obviously off the field. And so it's my pleasure to present Caleb Jackson and Bradley Shaw the Defensive Buck Award.
Special Teams Awards. Few people I want to give a shout out to are groups. All of the young guys that helped us on scout team. Y'all were big, and of course Coach Fuqua, just for always getting those guys for me. A really big part of what we do and just the operation of it. I appreciate y'all a lot. A few other guys, two of these guys are winning awards, but there's a bunch of people you could recognize on special teams. People that played on all 4 of our special teams. Jonathan LeBlanc did a great job on all 4. Jay Avery, DJ Estes, those guys played on all 4 special teams and had a big role. But one of these awards is going to go to the other guy, and Jay, DJ, those guys that played every play on defense as well, and never once checked up on special teams, never once took a play off. And the first award goes to a guy that did the same, played every play on defense, and then was on every special teams. He blocked 4 punts, was close to about 4 more, and just a pivotal role of what we did, and that's Keith Christine. Keith would come up to me every single Sunday and Monday and be like, Coach, you got a good block this week? You got a good block this week? He was always looking for it, but I love that. And so other guy here is probably going to be no surprise. One of the first things Coach Waldrop told me when I took the job was we got a guy that can kick it in the end zone. And I was very excited about that. And just to tell you what that means to us, special teams are very limited during practice, the time you get. You got to be very efficient. And one thing we could do, because we had this guy, is we could work on our kickoff team for about 2.5 minutes a week, which is a very big thing because then you got time for everything else. He was 8 of 9 on field goals for the year. He averaged about 43 yards a punt, and had 42, was it 42 or 48 touchbacks? 45? Yeah, right there, okay. And every single one of those times, Coach Eastman would say into the headsets, that's the best defensive play we got. So we heard that about 42 times during the season too. But, Peyton Argent, was a huge part of us. Come on up, man. And just want to congratulate him on a heck of a career here. And he's got a big future ahead of him, kicking the football.
I'll take just a second to piggyback on that. He did a great job. We do have a couple of guys that have been fortunate enough and blessed enough to be chosen to play in some all-star games. Peyton is one of those. Caleb Jackson is the other. They played yesterday in the Alabama-Mississippi all-star game. Caleb actually got a little sick, was not feeling well, and they communicated that he would not be here tonight. But those guys did a great job representing us, representing Hoover at that game. We've got 2 other young men that will be representing us next week in the North-South All-Star game, A.J. Franklin and Braxton Urquhart. And I know those guys will do a good job representing Hoover and representing their families. So very proud of those guys. Along with those postseason awards, we've had numerous guys nominated for Over the Mountain, South Metro. Hopefully you have seen those out on our social medias or in the publications. All state awards will be coming out as well. So more of our Bucks are going to get recognized as this season or as this year continues to wind down. But the reason we're here tonight, and I kind of say this every year, these are for our seniors. These are for our senior guys, the most important group on this team. And when I got here, these guys had been with a coach that had been here for 14 years. There was a standard, there was a tradition, there was a way of doing things. There was an expectation that had been established that these guys have been a part of for a long time. As a coach and as a man, for them to accept me into their family, into their brotherhood, into their program, it's hard. It's hard to have you've waited your time to come and to have your senior year, to have your chance to lead a program and be a part of a program and put your name on a program. And when I got here, I told those guys, you're not going to be remembered because of what the 04 team did or what the 14 team did or the 17 team. The class of 2023 is going to be its own team. It's going to be remembered based on what you do. And for those guys to accept Coach Waldrop, his family, a new coaching staff, Mr. Hubbard said it earlier, our coaching staff was not intact until June. These guys saw a lot of turnover, a lot of change, and they accepted it, they worked, they believed. And over the course of this season, I think we all grew together, and I thought we accomplished some pretty good things this year. So it's just, in my opinion, that when we finish this banquet tonight, these guys need to be the last guys standing here getting the applause that they deserve. As a group, from the time that they hit their sophomore class, they were 34-5. There's going to be a number of these guys signed to play college football. I think we'll have 15 to 17 guys that will sit at a table at some point to go on and continue their educations playing football. There's going to be numerous postseason awards. There are so many strong students in this group. It's really impressive to see the level of work that some of these guys do in the classroom, and then the level of play that they bring into our locker room and to the field every day. Some of these guys have some of the highest character of kids I've been around. They are going to be very successful when they leave. They're some very reliable workers, and most importantly, in the game of football, and I think even moving forward in the game of life, there are some awesome teammates in this group. Just some guys that appreciate and push and love the guys next to them. And to me, when I look at this program from the outside in, and now being in this program and looking at it from the inside out, this program's special because of the characteristics that this class as a whole have together. I cannot wait to see what these guys do as they grow, as they mature. There's still some maturing there to be done. There's some phenomenal players in this group. There's some big personalities. I tell you this, we're going to remember these guys forever. These guys will forever be a part of my life, and I'm just excited to see these guys go out into the world and see what kind of dads they become, what kind of husbands they become, what kind of players, who goes on to run a company and be some of the leaders in our government as they get older. These guys are sitting in this room, and they're going to be standing right up here. So as we go through right here, if you want to applaud when we call their name, that's fine. Guys, you're going to come up. We're still going to line up right here, and we're going to applaud for you at the end as well, okay? So the 2022-23 senior class for Hoover High School football, we'll start it off with Mr. Peyton Argent. Jay Avery. Grant Bonner. Malik Bridges. Devin Carlisle. Keith Christine. Gary and Denson. I.B. Diop. Quincy Dudley. DJ Estes. AJ Franklin. Tyreek Harris. Ethan Hubbard. Caleb Jackson. We know Caleb's not here. Justin Kelly. Jack Lamy. KJ Law. Jonathan LeBlanc. Billy Looney. Lamarian McCammon. Jordan Norman. Andrew Parrish. Caleb Powell. Christian Randolph. Omar Simpson. Brewer Smith. Yavah Smith. Harrison Sperling. Marshall Tomley. Braden Urban. Braxton Urquhart. Logan Ware. Amari Williams. Lynn Wood. Toshi Yamamoto. Again, so proud of this group. You know, I think they left something here that the next group can build off of, and you know, look to try to improve. I think they held the standard. I think they did a great job. I'm very proud of them. I know our coaches are very proud of them, and again, just can't look forward to see what they do. The last four people we need to recognize. The last four people we need to recognize tonight are captains. There's no higher honor in football or in sports, in my opinion, than to be recognized as a team captain. And a lot like a couple of these other awards, when your teammates nominate them and vote on them, it means the world. Coach McKellar said it. There's no greater honor than having the confidence of your peers, than having the support of your peers and the belief of your peers. And I think on all the awards that these players nominated and voted on, I think they got it right. Our captains tonight, we'll start with the one that is not here, and I hate that Caleb is not here, but the first captain for the 2022-23 season, Mr. Caleb Jackson. The next captain, Mr. Caleb Powell. Mr. KJ Law. And Mr. AJ Franklin. Let's stand up and give these guys a round of applause. I appreciate you all being here tonight. Our coaches do. Feel free to hang around and take pictures, guys. You have some awards, some pictures and balls and things up here. Would love for you to take those with y'all. Enjoy the night. Thank y'all for being here, guys. We're back to work in the morning. Go Bucks.